Hi everybody, and welcome to our Monday Learn video. My name is Heather Coleman, your intuitive medium and spiritual guide. So today we are talking about clairvoyancy, or the term clairvoyant, those two terms. Clair means clear, and voyant or voyancy means seeing or ability to see. So when we're using this term, at least in this particular context, we're talking about someone who has the ability to clearly see what would be, let's just say, unseeable by the traditional three-dimensional physical earthly eyes, or the obvious, what's on the surface of things, right? And so some examples of this, first, that I want to share from my own life. When I first realized that I was clairvoyant, this was after I had personally opened up empathy, clairsentience, or clear feeling, and telepathy. So just know that all of these different types of extrasensory senses, they often go together, but many people are stronger in some than in others. So when I first realized that I was clairvoyant, in addition to all of these other senses, and we're talking about after I was already doing readings for people, what happened was a cousin of mine who does not live locally was in town, and so we hadn't seen each other in some time, in person, maybe a year or two, and she came over to visit me. And when I first opened the door and said, "Come on in," she looked very old to me, even though we are the same age. And at this time, we were in our 30s, but her face looked very old, haggard, and wrinkled. And I just sort of didn't really know what to make of this. I didn't say anything. But maybe a few minutes after she came in, she confided that she had just had a really difficult argument with her brother, and she was feeling very stressed about that. After she mentioned that and confided in me a little bit about that, suddenly her face looked her actual age again, which was no wrinkles, her age, herself, and then she looked like herself again to me. And so what this showed me was that one form of clairvoyance is the ability to see what is beyond the surface of something or someone. So many people have this kind of experience. Have you ever met someone and they looked very one way to you? Maybe the next time you see them, they look very different to you. Maybe you're seeing what's really on the inside of that person. If you have ever walked into a place and seen colors. And that leads us into another aspect of this. If you see colors around people, you may be seeing auras. I've met so many people that will see a certain color the first time they meet someone. And for those mediums, those psychics, that's a sign to them of what is that person's nature like? What kind of person is that person going to be to them? Some other signs of clairvoyancy, if you see flashes of color, light, or shadow, if you tend to see things out of the corner of your eye and then you look and there's nothing there, it's because you're seeing beyond your physical eyes. So you might have, it's almost like an overlay. If you've ever seen a photograph that's been double exposed. So when you're seeing things that you think aren't there, you're sort of seeing what is there in another dimension, like say fourth or fifth dimension. Another sign of a clairvoyant is if you have vivid dreams or daydreams. People who dream in color at night are traditionally known to be much more open, let's say, or naturally open to psychic phenomena. If you remember your dreams, and or if you have dreams that are very vivid and then you forget about them later on, you may even very well be very clairvoyant, and a way to really capitalize on that gift, that skill which can be developed like a muscle, is to record your dreams. And the more you pay attention to your dreams and record your dreams, the more you may start noticing a lot of these visual experiences happening throughout your waking life as well. If you had an imaginary friend growing up, this could be a sign that you could be clairvoyant, clairaudient for that matter. A lot of these overlap. If you have a deep connection to beautiful things, maybe you're someone that enjoys a beautiful painting or a work of art or visiting museums, and you think, well, everyone must feel this way. Maybe, maybe not. If you have such a deep connection to this. Again, a sign of clairvoyancy. And why would that be? People who are very good at visualizing, and also a lot of this overlap, seeing the connection between things, seeing solutions to problems, seeing how things could fit together, like an actual puzzle or the metaphorical puzzle. So people who can really see how things could be better, yes, these people are often called visionaries. This is also clairvoyancy. Again, overlapping with some of our concepts here, a lot of times a clairvoyant or a visionary person can see what is possible beyond what, let's say, we would see with our average eyes. An example might be, let's say you meet two new people and you don't know much about them. And let's just toss this out there. Let's just say you're an architect and you meet two people and you don't know much about them. And somehow you keep seeing a beautiful building in your mind, right? And that's not so weird since you're an architect. But let's just say that as you continue to get to know these people, you find out that one of them is a green engineer. Maybe the other person is on a city planning board. And as you talk, you learn that maybe there's a common vision between the three of you of creating a green building. And maybe that's what you've been seeing in your mind. So a lot of times people who are clairvoyant will start to notice a lot going on, let's say behind your eyelids, even when you're awake. And that may change a bit depending on who you are around. Another sign of clairvoyancy, and this is one that I have noticed in my own experience and other intuitive people, if you find certain people, animals, places, photographs, anything visual attractive that most people don't, or that most people probably wouldn't find attractive, why do you think that might be? Clairvoyancy is being able to see again beyond just the actual, what is right in front of you. And finally, some little signs. I think this came up before, but if you tend to see things moving in the corner of your eye, maybe flashes of light. Also, here's our last one. If you tend to feel like you saw something, maybe a flash or a movement or a person in a mirror or a window, a sign that you're clairvoyant. So there is, and again, a longer video at some point about what the spiritual realm is, but just know that there's an entire existence right among us in other dimensions of living beings, breathing beings, entire societies right among us that are at a higher vibration. And the reason we don't pick up on a lot of that is because we need to be able to focus on our earthly lives that we're living right now. But just know that there are those of us that have the veil between what we need to see in our existence and what else is out there might be thinner. So if you are clairvoyant and you've noticed a lot of this applies to you, there's a reason for that. So everybody, thank you so much for being here with me today. I encourage you to subscribe so you can keep learning with me here on your spiritual journey. And check out my website. There's a lot going on. Guided meditations, angel circles, readings, energy work, lessons, all of these kinds of things. So for now, I leave you with much peace, sending divine love your way. Namaste.